I'm a fan of the Jets. I'm a fan of the Jets. The Jets. The Jets. Why this team? The Jets. Ah, the Jets! The Jets!
Stugotz, what's the matter, buddy?
I mean, right, just one time. I mean, 40 years I've been rooting for this team, and just one time I wanted my team to play in that big game in that beautiful dome in Los Angeles.
Dome? What about the elements? Back in my day, we didn't play in a dome.
Let me tell you, back in my day, we considered football to be an honorable game. We didn't have to pass the ball every single play, and that's how we did it back in my day. It's the cold in December and sweltering two-a-days. It's embracing occasional punts, and don't get me started on instant replay. Now we're cooking with gas. Watch out! I'm not done, by the way. Let me tell you, back in my day, there was no showboating. We respected the game. We sat on a stoop and let the radio play, 'cause that's how we did it back in my day. It's the wishbone I wish for. It's a toss to Red Grange. It's a first down without a taunt. Playing the game the right way. Oh, that's right. No retractable roofs. I'm talking frozen tundras or ice bowls. North Van Brooklyn. That's why they call it football weather. Bud Grant and the Purple People Eaters, ladies and gentlemen. That's how they played the game back in my day. It's Len Dawson enjoying a smoke and a brew during a game. It's Hank Stram wearing a sports coat. Legalize the clothesline and bring back drop kicks while you're at it. I'm Greg Cody, and that's how it was back in my day. Ba-da-ba-diddly-up. Bop. Ba-da-ba-diddly-up. Bop. Bop. That kind of thing.
Thanks for the lift, bro.
No problem.
Yo, what is this? Is this the musical? Turn it down, man. Like, I'm so tired of it. Musicals are corny. The shit is corny. Like, me tiene hasta aquí with this musical stuff, man. Just turn it down. I want to just chill, man, for real.
I feel you, bruh. I used to be that same way. Then my dog Andrew Lloyd Webber touched my soul with Phantom. And I quickly realized that, man, musicals, they're the highest form of theatrical art that there is, my brother. Think about it. It combines song, movement, dialogue, and production in a comprehensive fashion that really can't be rivaled. I'm talking about really, like, intricate shit, man. In many ways, musical led the cultural change in the 1930s, which was considered to be the golden age of musicals. Had those supremely talented artists not pushed boundaries and helped shape the new American pathos back then, I don't know if I'd be here right now today, standing in front of you. No cap, like no capadonna. Musicals have the capability to make you feel ways that you never thought possible. Even if you might find the subject matter mundane going into it, by the end of the experience, you might find yourself spiritually enlightened through the magic of song and an occasional exposition to advance the story. Matter of fact, I'm feeling ways about football right now I could never dream prior to. I think I'm about to have a moment, my brother. Way down in the jungle deep, a lion bit a Viking on his motherfucking knee. It began in 1869, I see you, Mojo, with a match between the Princeton Tigers and the Scarlet Knights of Rutgers. Then in 1880, along came a man named Walter Camp, the father of American football, the Waltster, Campy, Wamp, as they called him. He established the snap, the line of scrimmage, 11-player teams, and the concept of downs. The gladiator spectacle. Though the game has evolved over...
Billy, I do not envy the life of fear that follows you with every step you take, but it makes me think of you often. This weekend in South Carolina, a super unusual death. A beach umbrella went caught in the wind, impaled someone, and killed them.
Happens more than you'd think.
And in Maine, this didn't end in a death, but a giant metal object, and I'm surprised this doesn't happen more often, just fell off an airplane and landed a few feet from somebody at a high rate of speed and would have ended that person's life. And I'm wondering, as these things happen...
Neither have happened to me.
But do you fear with every step that they're going to? Do you ever find yourself looking above you to see if something is going to fall? These are terribly random deaths. When you talk about what happened in South Carolina, I mean, can you imagine? People will laugh. Can you believe a beach umbrella impaled someone? Somebody lost a loved one that way. From one minute to the next, someone was alive and then no longer alive because just a totally random act, which is exactly what would have happened with metal falling from the sky. And I imagine that Billy lives here.
No, I mean, I haven't. Thank you for now putting that on my radar. I hadn't considered things falling out of the sky and landing on me, but I did have a while that I was really worried about sinkholes because they were just happening at like a crazy rate, like 5 or 6 years ago, where like every week there was a sinkhole somewhere in Florida. And I'm like, hey, that's where I live. And then I'd like kind of have restless nights where I'm like, well, what happens if my floor just disappears and I fall
Billy,
in there?
this isn't a sinkhole, but like a week ago, see if you can find this news story. I saw this. A guy was just taking pictures of like the sunrise or the sunset, and the sand caved in, and somebody came by 2 hours later, and they just saw sneakers in the ground, like feet hanging out of, because he just fell into into sand and was trapped immediately and was just taking pictures of the sun.
Like the Wicked Witch of the East? You mean just like a couple of...
Yes, can you imagine walking past? Well, can you imagine the horror of all of that, but also walking past that and just seeing 2 feet stuck in the ground and it's all that's extended from, but that's not a sinkhole. That's something else entirely.
There was
quicksand.
Yeah, that's horrible.
There wasn't quicksand either. It was just a dune sort of collapsed.
There was a video recently that it was like a news story that it was like a sinkhole under a pool, and then like it looked almost like a toilet was flushing and
Yeah.
the water and
I saw that.
yes,
Yeah,
someone died. Like it
Yeah.
sucked someone in and a person died that way.
Yeah, like it was a woman, I think, right? Because there was a guy that was trying to help her out, and it was like she's gone.
I also saw there was a video captured of a meteor flying over Colorado, and it just makes me think: are we prepared for meteors? No. Because they always come terrifyingly close to hitting us, but somehow never do.
No.
There's going to be one that
Talk about
hits.
asteroids. Meteors happen all the time.
All the time. We're prepared. We have a kind of just like, let it happen attitude. towards
Meteors
it.
happen all the time.
Most of them
Asteroids. That's the
land in
one.
the ocean.
You're talking about like extinction level event, right? That's on. But I mean,
We have a plan for that.
yeah, we get extinct.
Yeah,
No,
we're gonna.
no. NASA's invested billions on the asteroid defense system.
And what is that like?
Well, like reflections.
We put
Also, we can just send a ragtag group of drillers up there and have them detonate a nuclear device to split it in two, and then both sides of the asteroid just miss Earth entirely.
Only if it takes 2.5 hours to tell that story, though. You cannot tell that story in less than 2.5 hours.
You also cannot tell that story without a real life love story attached to it.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
If you want to keep my wife invested,
No, I believe what's going to happen is the don't look up scenario. All the rich people are going to end up flying off of this earth and leaving us to die. That's what's going to happen.
be Lord of the Flies. You think things are bad now? Wait till we find out that we got a ticking clock.
Or like Westworld.
Yeah, we're just going to start murdering each other.
Yeah.
It's going to be like the Purge.
Okay.
Very rosy start to the morning.
This is your fault, Dan.
Why is it my fault?
Billy?
You did
started.
bring us here.
Now we're all as like paranoid as Billy.
I was doing random. I didn't end everybody. I just had impaling by umbrella and falling into a sand dune and
Where
things
was
falling
that
out of the
supposed to
sky.
go?
Very dark place to start.
Well, I'll go even darker then.
Oh,
When you
no!
mention Armageddon, not just the end of times, but the movie.
What? There's a movie?
Oh, so it's
Have
funny
you-
when you do it.
Have you read? Have you read?
usually-
Just
that's
one of the
usually-
secrets.
Yeah, that
it's
is,
funny
yeah.
when he does it.
Yeah, it's usually my prism. I mean,
There's something I know I brought this up a couple of times as it relates to Bruce Willis, but movie marketing companies seem to know that his bald dome on the cover of something will make me look twice in a way that I would not at something else. And so if you read some of the details or some of the reporting, because it's a heartbreaking story, what's happened with Bruce Willis, but it seems evident that they were trotting him out with like an earpiece and an inability to actually act. He'd forget his lines, and they just sort of needed him in movies. And if you look at the last few years of his career, when you go from Armageddon, blockbusters, and that face on a movie poster meant something, and the last, I don't know, 5 years of his movie choices, you will see an actor who's being trotted out as a vessel.
yeah, I've heard a couple of different perspectives on this, and they've made like his handlers to be the villain. When there's other reporting done on it that Bruce knew that he had a very limited time with his career, and he wanted to make sure he continued setting up his family for generational wealth and just take on as many projects, understanding that his career was sunsetting.
Cinephobe episode 82, by the way, Armageddon, in case you're wondering.
Can't believe that qualifies.
I can. I
yeah,
can.
yeah.
Yes. Yes, I
Phobe.
can.
Yes.
Phobe.
Yes. That's
Terrible movie.
You're my brother.
That's right.
You're my brother.
That's right, too.
Armageddon is a terrible movie. You guys
No,
are...
it's way better than Deep Impact. Way better.
That's not saying
Way
all that
better.
much,
Yes, it
is
is.
Hold on. Hold
Yes,
on,
when
Mike.
it comes to
Wait.
two asteroid destroying the Earth movies, there's one that is, the gold standard, and it's Armageddon.
It's the one that doesn't have a black president of the United States, is what you're saying.
Wow, two Americas.
Is
Wow.
that what you're saying?
Doesn't like The Wire.
Was
and thinks
Morgan Freeman? Wait, was
not
Morgan?
believable as
Pattern.
president.
Wow,
Wait,
this took a
was
turn I
Morgan
was not
Freeman the
expecting.
president in Some of All Fears?
No, he's the president of Deep Impact.
But he had a political job in Some of All Fears, because I hate that movie too.
Was he the James Earl Jones
Oh my
character
God.
in the Harrison Ford
Guys,
version of the movies?
I might be racist,
You don't know if you are. It sounds like it.
but I have black friends. How?
Yes, you do.
I like movies
They're all
with
here.
black presidents.
And on in the room.
I'll find the president from 24. I liked him. Oh,
Oh,
no.
yes.
Yeah, Pedro.
Allstate.
No.
But that was a dog whistle to right-wing conspiracy theorists. Oh no. What have I become?
Oh.
What have I always been?
A lot of people are pointing out the differences between how Will Smith has been run out of Hollywood and Ezra Miller seems to be for a long time now, and he's finally publicly said
They have to correct you because in
excuse
all
me,
the
excuse me,
all the statements.
Thank you. Yes, a time of intense crisis. Ezra Miller is being received differently than Will Smith is being received. Will Smith having slapped someone publicly, and Ezra Miller. You see what's been happening there, where it's messy, and you're talking about criminal behavior, and it seems obvious that there's a mental health breakdown. It's either when Charlie Sheen was going through some of these things publicly through celebrity. Charlie Sheen was viewed as drug dependent. Ezra Miller, this is an unusual. Robert Downey Jr. had some of this. This is
not some of this.
Not some of this. But Robert Downey Jr. had behavior that was in public that was reckless, dangerous, criminal, and seemed lost. And in this case, it seems like we're dealing with mental illness. And now there's the confirmation, a time of intense crisis. And is this something where you find yourself saying, well, it's not the crime or crimes, it's the fame of the criminal, and whether or not it's done at an awards gala.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the weird things about Ezra Miller is, like, how is this guy still free? Like, the stuff that's happening, forget about the kidnapping / cult thing going on, a little R. Kelly action it seems like he's got going on. But it's like some of these assaults, like, how is he just roaming free?
They.
Oh, is he?
They.
Yeah.
Didn't you hear the correction the first 3 times it made an appearance here?
You're allowed to make the mistake. I'm just here to correct you.
I
This is
made
how
the
we learn.
mistake. I made the mistake. You're not allowed to make the mistake 3 times after the mistake has been corrected in the 3 minutes previous. Steve Martin was also a prop comic.
Ezra Miller seems to be doing things that would land even a celebrity behind bars. And yet Ezra Miller continues to roam free. And that is confusing, to say the least. Like, career or not, that's kind of first world problems. Oh, how does Ezra Miller still have, the Flash movie still, why is it still on the line, right? Particularly given what Mike Schur told us, which is during this time of merger, Discovery has the ability to write off things as losses by just not having them ever see the light of day. Why wouldn't that one be the one that was shelved? I don't know. As far as Will Smith goes, my thought is it probably goes a lot deeper than a slap. There's probably some stuff behind the scenes that we don't know about. And the slap is just the public thing that makes it easy to, deliver that sentence. But also, it's Will Smith. He's way more rich and powerful and has the ability to put out content without relying on the Hollywood system.
But is it the crime or the criminal is what I'm asking you in terms of how these things end up being received. Now, one of them happened in front of us, obviously. One of them we can all acknowledge is kind of silly, even as Judd Apatow wails that he could have been killed, that Chris Rock could have been killed, which admittedly would have made this a different conversation. And I still think that the Academy, their outrage would be larger than any jail system or justice systems as it related to him ruining that gala. But the video is shocking. Mm-hmm. We don't have any of that or much of that with Ezra Miller. And so I do believe that ends up being part of the disconnect. But many people are making the link of this is the difference between how a white person is treated and how a black person is treated. I think there are a number of other mitigating factors there. But a black person committing violence at the gala did make a whole lot of Academy members clutch some pearls.
There were also reports on what exactly Warner Brothers was planning to do with this Ezra Miller situation, and one of them was just put out a statement, not allow any press follow-ups, and continue hoping that Ezra Miller does not get in trouble along the way. There was also a plan to scrap the film entirely. It seems as though they've settled on this. Let's try to get Ezra Miller help, and let's hope that nothing else happens so we can put this movie out. Because naturally, you would assume that they actually believe in this film. Otherwise, they would have scrapped it because they've shown a proclivity to scrap these projects in an effort to save money. They think highly of this project, and a lot of fans are excited to see it. Ezra Miller was a popular actor with regards to his portrayal of the Flash. People are excited to
Portrayal.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Thank you very much. Michael Keaton was reprising his role as Bruce Wayne in this film. We had already seen one example of that being scrapped altogether with Batgirl. So there was excitement for this Ezra Miller vehicle. So they're going to push through. But I don't trust Ezra Miller to not get in trouble. It has been a years-long saga around Ezra Miller. And each story gets crazier than the last. He has been charged with felonies. Hey, dang it.
Oh, it's when the correction happens 2 seconds later. Oh, then there's a problem when it's 2 seconds later.
It's difficult.
That's what I was trying to say, but apparently I'm a demon.
You're not a demon.
I'm a demon.
We're all trying to learn and get better.
It feels good to correct somebody.
And it's also,
oh my God, it feels great.
It feels fantastic, especially with this shit.
Put it on the poll, Guillermo, at LeBatard Show.
Using Ezra Miller, I thought I was safe.
That's how I tried to do it.
That's interesting that would happen as art to our show that way. And it was fun to correct Amin on it.
I had no fun. It was zero
and then
fun.
It was
being
fun
on.
for Amin to correct
on
you on it. Yes,
God.
on the other side, it was fun. Billy, can you tell me what it is that made you ask or wonder whether replay is a good evolution or a bad evolution in sports?
I think it's ruining careers. Replay.
Whose careers?
Well, officials, play-by-play people.
For sure.
I don't know if you've caught on to this, Dan. I was having a lengthy conversation yesterday with someone where I was talking just kind of like about sports radio and how things have changed and podcasts and all that stuff. And I'm like, before, now people that are watching and, consuming, they know more than ever before. Like, you can't kind of fake your way through a lot of this stuff anymore, because back in the day, you could just like say whatever. You mentioned like one prospect on one team. You're like, oh my God, this person's an expert. And now every Tom, Dick, and Harry knows more than everybody else that's on radio, podcasts, whatever, right? So yesterday I was watching, and I'm by watching, I mean I saw it on Twitter because I'm not going to watch 3 hours of a Yankees game. But there was a Yankees game and where Anthony Rizzo leaned into a pitch, right? And I believe that they said it was Paul O'Neill who was making the call, but I don't know. And Paul O'Neill's going out, and the umpire immediately said, no, you're not getting first base. You, leaned into it. And Paul O'Neill's like, what is he supposed to do? That pitch was behind him. There's absolutely no place that he can go. Blah, blah. And he's going on this big rant, and all the Yankees broadcasters are like, oh, what is he? This is ridiculous. Oh, it's a judgment call. There's no way. Blah, blah. That pitch was behind him. Where is he supposed to go? Blah, 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 blah. Right? And as they're doing this, they show a replay from above where he clearly leans all the way into it with his leg. And then they show it from the front angle where you see this is nowhere near behind him. He leans into the plate to get hit by this pitch, right? And then there's just dead silence. They don't correct that it was ever behind him. Just dead silence. And they go, that's a judgment call. And then just keep going.
Paul O'Neill strikes me as someone who would be stubborn about admitting that he's wrong there.
He's also watching the game on TV, right? He's not in the stadium.
Paul O'Neill, that's right, because he's not vaccinated, is somewhere in Ohio, isn't he?
I believe they recently did either a jersey retirement ceremony or some sort of ceremony with Paul O'Neill in which he was in the stadium, but still wasn't allowed to call the game from the booth.
But are there
from
rules
the
anymore?
Booth. Yeah. So yes, until I believe the end of 2022. The Yes Network.
Yes Network.
That was a little bit of a who's on first situation.
Yes.
The Yes Network have a policy, I believe, until the end of the year that you have to be vaccinated in order to be in their booths. So I still believe, I don't know where they put him, but somewhere in a dungeon in Yankee Stadium was Paul O'Neill calling the game.
I was listening back, cutting up Suey's. I was listening back to the start of that Paul O'Neill, and then Mike calling you out of just you were so unvaxxed Paul O'Neill with us here on the LeBatard Show. You didn't say that, but it was just you were so aggressive with him out of the gate.
Guys, I have good news. I have compiled a list to prove that I am not racist.
Oh no, this is defensive. This is ridiculous.
Mike Ryan's top 5 presidents who are black to prove that Mike is not racist.
All right. This is going to be
OLI.
an interesting list.
Barack Obama.
As always, reality pales in comparison to fiction.
Number 5. Tiny Zeus Lisser in The Fifth Element.
Fifth Element, yep. R.I.P. Tiny.
Number 4. Jamie Foxx, White House Down.
Oh, God. That movie is so bad.
That's Gerard Butler, right? Has to save the black president. Oh,
So bad.
white savior.
No, it wasn't.
Thanks a
No,
lot.
it was Channing Tatum.
Exactly.
I think. Was it
No,
Tatum?
Channing Tatum was this one.
Oh, okay.
What? Yeah, Olympus Has Fallen was the other situation.
That's just like Deep Impact and Armageddon. You got the two movies. That
and there's
came out
always
the same
like a
time.
Morgan Freeman tie-in.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I think the Jamie Foxx Gerard Butler movie is the secret prison that Gerard Butler is able to
No,
escape.
see, I think it was Channing Tatum. It was Channing Tatum.
No,
Jamie
I'm talking
Foxx.
about two different movies. We're talking about two different
We should put
movies.
them together.
Yes.
Yeah, White House Has Fallen.
Yeah, Gerard Butler
Olympus
was a
Down.
prisoner in that Jimmy Fox movie.
Yeah. Number 3, Christopher Jackson as George Washington in Hamilton. He was
Terrible.
fantastic.
Terrible? What's terrible?
Hamilton.
What?
We've done this before. That's a rerun, but yes. Tony's my guy.
You can't
Thumbs
say
down.
Hamilton is
Thumbs down.
Trash.
terrible.
Thumbs down.
It was
Garbage.
fantastic.
Suey.
Fantastic.
Hey,
How dare you say that about
Here's
our
an
first
idea.
president?
How about we have some
doing?
dialogue?
Okay.
How about we have just
Okay.
spoken dialogue?
Did you have? All right. Let's do it this way. Did you have a problem with George Washington in it?
I don't remember.
He was great. He was great.
I fell asleep.
You're
can't.
talking right now.
Come
It's
on.
easier to talk. Why don't you try sing-songing
Yeah.
to me the whole show?
Why don't you
Difficult.
try rapping it?
Again, this is all in replays. We've done this before, Chris, where someone had to sing every single line that they spoke on the show.
You're terrible
Remember,
at
it was
this.
what?
Yeah, at
I'm sorry.
singing.
Let me do it.
At singing.
I'm sorry. Let me do the Hamilton way. Rapping and clapping and slapping, dapping and tapping and rapping, napping and tapping and lapping, flapping and capping and whapping and chapping and cacking, mapping and mapping and tapping, dapping and mapping and
That was good.
Have you
That's
watched
pretty good.
Hamilton?
I'd
Yeah.
buy that oxygen at the end there.
Yeah, 99 cents on iTunes for me. Number 2.
Hold on a minute. You're not allowed to, you can say Hamilton's overrated. You can say that you didn't like Hamilton. You're not allowed, not in free speech America, to say that Hamilton was terrible trash.
Why? Because I'm black?
Number 2.
God damn.
Number 2. Warren Beatty in Bullworth. And number 1, Chris Paul. And it's Mike's top 5 presidents to prove he is not racist.
Greetings to all. Welcome to 2022. Omicron is on the run, and away it went. But oops, there goes gravity, and here comes a new variant. Omaha, Corona, Hut 1, Hut 2, nothing infects the Super Bowl, and nothing stops football.
Racism, greed, trauma to brain and spine. And yet, I cannot look away. Heroes are dead. Science has their heads. Oh, is there no escape from here? I need to know. It eats my soul. Nothing stops me at path. heaven or hell? I can't tell. It's human cockfighting. CTE prayer circles. They blackballed the black baller. They tried to end racism by stenciling it in the end zone. Billionaire boys using millionaires as toys. It's all immoral, all unethical. Ooh, the witching hour. Nothing stops the NFL. Is this heaven or hell? I can't tell. It's Urban and Snyder and Flores and Gruden, but Kyler, but Kelsey, but Cooper, but Canton. It's cheating and tanking and bounties and banking, but parlays, but face paint, but promo, but weddings.
Here we go. This one's for all the glory. Give it your best, it's all you got. Don't look back. Oh, it's all part of the story. You talk the talk, now walk the walk. Yeah.
When the game's on the line, will you have the guts to make the call? When it's crunch time, will you make us scream? God bless football.
Say it louder. From the back of every bar or the subway, on the streets or in your car, wherever you have found yourself, scream out your battle cry. I'm all in. I'm all in. Fourth and goal, or pin back at your 30. Time to prove you're a hot shot. Let's attack. Oh, your name is Brandon Staley. Unleash some hell and go for gold. Yeah.
A few yards to gain. Does your QB have the guts? Will you just punt, or throw it up to Cooper Cup?
Say it louder. From the back of every bar or the subway, on the streets or in your car, wherever you have found yourself, scream out your battle cry. I'm all in.
One play at a time, boys. One play at a time. Winning isn't everything. It's the only thing. I'm all in. I'm all in. I'm all in. I'm
All in. All in? I'm a fan of the Jets. I'm a fan of the Jets. The Jets. The Jets. Why this team? The Jets. Ah, the Jets! The Jets!
Stugotz, what's the matter, buddy?
I mean, Greg, just one time.
We're getting complaints via YouTube. Athletes so much better now. Le Batard can't play 80-plus game seasons. Less contact from defenses. Playing less defense in general. Hustling less for 50-50 balls. Playing less physical style. On the perimeter more than in the trenches. Playing post, etc. Basketball, football, baseball fans who really thinks these athletes are getting stronger and better. You think Jokic is much different than Bird? LeBron from Magic? You all really see a difference?
He's that guy. I mean, what can you tell us about defense in the 80s and 90s?
Wildly overrated. Wildly overrated. The defensive principles that they used because of the rules at the time didn't allow you to help defense as much. So if, Mike has the ball and I'm guarding Dan, but I want to help out on defending Mike, I can either go double and trap immediately or I got to stay next to Dan. I can't do what NBA defenses do now, which is have a guy just stand in the middle and fake like he's going to, go over and not actually go. Second of all, it felt like there wasn't a whole lot of game planning. So this is one of my most famous examples. Me and Zach were watching Knicks Pacers, the game where Reggie Miller scored 25 points in the fourth quarter, right? It was on TV, and we were all doing our radio show, and we're like, oh, this is on TV. And we're watching. And so, like, at this point, Reggie probably has, like, 14 points in the fourth quarter of a playoff game. And the Knicks haven't figured out, like, maybe we should pay attention to him.
Against Pat Riley? Is that a Pat Riley coach team?
The mighty Pat Riley coach, New York Knicks, tough defense, 90s, baby. We don't let anything go. And I saw with my own two eyes Antonio Davis bringing the ball up. And the guy, I think it was Charles Smith, saying, like, I know Reggie has 16 points in the quarter, but that's Antonio Davis dribbling a basketball. I must help on that. Leaving Reggie Miller wide open, doubling on Dale Davis on post-ups, even though he's being guarded by Anthony Mason. Like, it was insanity watching this. I'm like, how is this? This is the defense of the time that everyone's holding up? So what people say, oh, defense was tougher back then, they're literally talking about one element. They're talking about hand checking. Yes, you could hand check.
Well, it's physical. It's not just hand checking. It's also physical basketball.
Hand checking and the fact that certain fouls that today are considered to be like flagrant and out of the bounds of play, back then were just regular fouls. But other than those two elements, a lot of it was very rudimentary. It's like Stone Age out there, man.
I don't know what happens to the eye across generations or the memory across generations, because I've told you ESPN Classic is the great myth destroyers. You will laugh at 80s basketball watching the defense and the lack of speed. You will be able to see it if you're simply watching video side by side 40 years apart. You will see it for yourself that this is laughable defensively compared to what it is that they do today, not hustling for 50-50 balls in today's sport. But the place that you'll see the greatest example of it, to me, on where you're like, whoa, was Chris Evert and Martina Navratilova playing tennis versus what tennis is now. Yeah. Where it's not patty cake. It's not patty cake baseline to baseline. Let me loop it over here. Everyone is sort of Drew Brees in sports, where it's just like we're going for accuracy and efficiency, but no one's got a howitzer. No one's got the Patrick Mahomes arm where you're like, oh my God, that's different than anything I've seen.
The power in tennis today compared to what it was in the 90s and even in the time that you're describing, it has been amplified tenfold. Now, some unranked players have serves that would blow your mind. That would be the talk of the circuit back then. That has been incredible to see. It's also made for a much lesser product to view.
That's what I was
because you
say.
don't have these long rallies, and it's really difficult sometimes to just watch an ace fest and these specialists out there with just these huge hammer serves. It's boring to watch. I prefer the rally.
Yeah, like it's like it's like when Tim Kirkland talks about baseball, right? Like how it's just all the stuff that is not smart strategically was kind of like the beauty of the game that people like to watch. And so it's fun. I want to go back to the guy who tweeted that. Like, is he saying that athletes today aren't physically superior to what they were?
Yes.
I don't think anyone's that's not an argument anyone makes. Like, you could say they're not as good, they don't try as hard, they're not as smart. Like, I've heard all those criticisms, but I've never heard someone say, no, there is no physical superiority right now, even though we have all these training regimens and stuff.
If we were to classify athletes, we'd say probably Olympic level athletes is the best barometer. Go ahead and look at the times for the person that finished last compared to Olympics of bygone eras.
Ben Johnson in '88, right? Like, his steroid, which, by the way, you ever gone back and watch it? Forget it. It's just hilarious. Of course.
Yeah, Dan, have you ever gone back and watched track and field events from the 80s?
Actually, I was covering back then Olympics, so the Ben Johnson, Carl Lewis stuff, even though it is somewhere embedded in my memory, and what I'm thinking of when I think of Ben Johnson is somebody who had bigger thighs than everyone else who was running against him.
He ran, and like I remember watching him, I'm like, this dude has got to be on something, because look, the gap, like the way he just exploded, like no one runs like that, right? Go back and look at that time now. I don't think that time makes the final heat of the Olympic, of the 100-meter dash.
It's not a coincidence that every time you watch the Olympic broadcast, they have the Olympic record and world record there, and it was set very recently. In almost every Olympics, you see that record get broken. We are just putting new high water marks when it comes to athleticism every year. This is not an insult on the athletes of bygone eras. They were doing
it's
the
always
most with what
taken
they
as
had
such, though. It's always taken as such.
It's really not. They maximize what was the sports science of the day, and we've just kept pushing that to new limits.
Well, that's the thing, right? Is that you have human evolution plus the resources dedicated not only to improving physical performance, but also strategic, how runners start off the blocks, how defenses operate, advanced scouting, all these things that have pumped billions of dollars to improve performance. But I think to Mike's point, I think people feel better about what happened back then because there was a more entertaining product as a result. And that
depending on the sport.
Right, depending on the sport, right? So baseball, for instance, used to be a more entertaining product because people didn't think of the shift as a reasonable idea. Now that it exists, it has increased the number of outs. Therefore, it makes for a less entertaining product. You have pitchers throwing 102 miles an hour all over the league, and that's harder to hit. Human evolution is not always meaning the quality of the product is increasing.
What is the modern day thing that we can look at and go back to where it is that Amin was and have these many things fall apart? That's genius Pat Riley trying to defend Reggie Miller, taking shots that at the time only Reggie Miller could make, not figuring out that he's got to guard Reggie Miller, not Antonio Davis. And he's also playing in the post through Patrick Ewing. So playing the game all wrong efficiency-wise. Given where you've seen it's gone, I'm saying, what are we going to be able to look at today? Pat Riley is regarded as a genius, and in the middle of that, they're getting all of it wrong.
Right. So I would say playing through Patrick wasn't playing the wrong way, quote unquote, because it was an efficient shot. I always say, like, when we talk about post,
what I meant is I meant
compared to how we play now. Right?
They went statistically for the worst shot, which is a guarded one around the rim that is contested. There were mid-range jumpers all over the place.
Right.
The game was being played inefficiently by a guy that's a genius that you said didn't look like he had a game plan defensively and is playing the sport all wrong now that we can look back at where the three-point line has changed everything.
This is what I would say as far as them offensively. I think in general, it can be an inefficient strategy, but when you're talking about, I have Patrick Ewing, it ceases to be inefficient. Much like, in general, my player shooting from 40 feet, bad shot. But if that player is Steph Curry, we're like, okay, well, that's an exception. So I think oftentimes when we talk about post-ups being bad shots, or, it's bad for who's doing it, right? If I had someone else doing it, I wouldn't have a problem. Mid-range shots are bad. But when Steph Curry takes mid-range shots, or Devin Booker, or Klay Thompson, we're like, well, that's a good shot. Why? Because they created, that was, first of all, the best shot is the shot that was created that actually had a chance to get there, right? It wasn't blocked, it didn't turn it over, and you weren't smothered or whatever. But then, depending on who's taking the shot, that's that's the important thing. When we talk about the importance of shooting threes in basketball, it's not because, just let's get threes up there. Really, what we're talking about is role players. What we're talking about is PJ Tucker, Caleb Martin, you guys stay out of the way so that Jimmy Butler can operate anywhere on the floor. And if you stand over there at the three-point line, then your defender either has to stay with you or has to cross great distances to close the gap over there. And then if the ball goes back out, he's got to cross all the way back out. That's a long way to go. As opposed to PJ Tucker and Caleb Martin are standing 18 feet from the basket. Well, now it's easy. Now I'm guarding both of you guys, and I don't even have to move. So the importance of spreading the floor is less about like all of these shots here are bad. It's like, no, it's bad for you because you're getting in the way of my star doing his thing.
My point is that the spreading of the floor is what, an 8-year phenomenon? Is it 10 years? Is it 9 years?
Can we
2004?
Can we
some
briefly
Bonafides
fix
in here.
basketball because the players have outgrown that court, and Major League Baseball is making the corrections to the shift. It's something that no one really had considered a couple of years prior. Now they realize, this makes for the game being less interesting.
Right.
So let's make this correction. The NFL has made rule changes to make offenses more interesting because they know what fans like. I think the court is too small. The players have outgrown the court. I also think it's a safety hazard.
Let me ask you a question.
Safety hazard.
Yeah, no. Ask Paul George if it's a safety hazard.
Well, that was a non-NBA arena where that happened.
No, I understand, but it does seem like if you're ever courtside, it's very dangerous.
This is what I would ask you, Mike. Let's say we made the court bigger. We pushed the three-point line out to 24 feet. Do you think one or two things would happen, right, according to that? Either A, because the three-point line is out further, it discourages three-pointers, and so it brings back people trying to shoot from other parts of the floor. Or B, guys are just going to get better at shooting from 24 feet.
I'd like to see it. I don't know what it's going to result in.
I think it's B. I think all that's going to happen is guys are going to get used to shooting from further out, and we're just going to have the same type of basketball from.
But that's cool.
Is it
same type of basketball from further away? I do think people pop when Steph pulls up from damn near half court. I do think that people like when Damian Lillard attempts those shots, and if it misses, then you alter your roster to get better rebounders. I would like to take the data.
I don't think people agree with you. Like the people who say, "Oh, basketball is boring now. It's too many threes or whatever." Like I don't think making the threes further out makes it more fun.
I don't like a missed three from the normal range. Make it a miss from half court.
You won't notice. That's the funny thing because when they move the 3-point line in, never mind. There's a stat of the day that's going to happen at some point, and it's a conversation about.
Good that you didn't do it.
Yeah.
You almost did it.
I'm glad you didn't blow our cover.
It's a good thing that you didn't do it.
Okay.
Let's go. Let's veer away from where Amin is. Go sit on the therapy couch. Get out of here. Just get out of here.
Whoa!
Like unbelievable. You're here to help us out, and that is what you end up doing with the space. What was that? What's the matter with him?
Well,
what is the matter with him?
He covered his bases. He made sure that he didn't reveal something that he shouldn't have.
Kick, save, and a butte.
He's a continuity man.
Amin is very frustrating.
How so?
Don't get me started on this.
Maybe Dan should go on the therapy couch.
Yeah, actually, yeah. Maybe you should both go on the therapy couch.
Together.
Yeah.
Right.
Just lay on top
for
of
it.
them. Now there's no hosts.
Yeah, now.
No, we've done this before, guys. Great results. We can keep it in here.
Like riding a bike.
Yeah, just like riding a bike. All right. The slow report. Following up on
It is buzzing right now. It's the fastest growing Twitter account on Twitter right now. On the world. Yep, in the world.
How many followers?
When I checked a few minutes ago, we were at 68. Let me see where we're at now.
Mike Schur comes in, he does the stat of the day, and everyone gets so excited and happy about it. And I'm like, I'm excited and happy, but I get so confused sometimes. I don't know where I am or when I am. And that kind of irregularity in my schedule combined with flying cross-country red-eye flights off and staying in hotel rooms. I got to remember what hotel room number it is. Have you ever done that, Doc? Doc, have you ever done that? You gone to a hotel and you don't know? Wait, is this my room from this time or is it my room from last time? What am I doing?
Oh, guys, I completely underestimated this. 161 followers right now.
Oh, wow. That's exciting. Wow. You're gonna have to drop a new report soon.
I'm gonna need the next one needs to be a banger. Like I just can't report anything.
Right. I'm trying to figure out what over the last month.
Give me something, yeah.
Live.
What's the biggest news story
I
3 weeks ago?
I have you set to mobile alerts. I don't want the spoiler. I don't.
So we were kind of discussing earlier. So we were talking about maybe like Tom Brady is going to miss a week of practice, where it's like predictive in nature as opposed to just merely repeating the news.
Yeah.
You say Tom Brady will be missing a week of practice, or like things that maybe aren't reported. Like, well, this hasn't happened yet. But,
Things that were like things that break, but we're not sure like where they came from, kind of where it's like
exactly.
And then I report them 2 weeks later, but it's like, is that where it started? Huh. How about me?
How about you?
Sometimes, the show just weighs so heavy on me all the time. I don't think it comes across to people how much it's like draped over me. I carry this with me everywhere, Doc, and no one appreciates it. No one at all. I feel they're all sleeping on me, to be honest with you. Everyone on the show is just sleeping on me constantly. They never ever like realize, yo, this guy brings something to the table. He brings a spark. And I don't know what to do. Sometimes I just want to scream out, but I feel like I'm being smothered sometimes.
The burden of carrying these guys all the time, carrying them, and it's just Stugotz usually that's the weight, and that's enough to have that draped on my shoulders at every moment. And then everyone figures out, oh, the funny thing to do is just everyone be Stugotz. Everyone annoy Dan. If you annoy Dan, that's always a success. It's a winning formula. But what ends up happening at the end, Doc? Fucking Dan goes home annoyed. What do you think is going to happen in that spot? If you're always annoying him, you're doing the wrong thing, and the wrong thing is always funny. But Dan has to be the straight man.
But like, what if you then break something like Phil Mickelson is going to be going to live?
Oh, that's a good
or
one.
Like just things that you don't necessarily like. I don't want like Adam Schefter reports or Ian Rapport. Just things that happened, and then we all sort of react after the fact.
Oh,
like,
you mentioned live. Have you seen what's happening today? Tiger Woods hopped on the private bird. They are having the live meeting inside the PGA, and rumors are that the Netflix cameras are rolling because they're doing everybody's doing their version of Drive to Survive. Tiger Woods is coming in to be a leader and make a decision, because right now a huge, massive civil war is brewing inside of golf.
So I was sort of unclear as to what that civil war was, though. Is it like Tiger Woods showing up to be like, PGA Tour, we need to be better? Or is it to yell at the other PGA Tour players, hey, be better, stop taking the shit from live, because, like you're enticed by these offers?
The show holds me back. The show holds me back. I could be a talent. I could be a leader here. They just have me in the back of the back row. So many people. Whitty's here now. Jess is here now. I could be a front row guy. A fry.
Fry? Did someone say fry?
On a salad.
Stugotz, what's the matter, buddy?
I mean, just one time. 40 years I've been rooting for this team, and just one time I wanted my team to play in that big game in that beautiful dome in Los Angeles.
Dome? What about the elements? Back in my day, we didn't play in a dome.
Let me tell you, back in my day, we considered football to be an honorable game. We didn't have to pass the ball every single play, and that's how we did it back in my day. It's the cold in December and sweltering two-a-days. It's embracing occasional punts, and don't get me started on instant replay. Now we're cooking with gas. Watch out. I'm not done, by the way. Let me tell you, back in my day, there was no showboating. We respected the game. We sat on a stoop and let the radio play, 'cause that's how we did it back in my day. It's the wishbone I wish for. It's a toss to red range. It's a first down without a taunt. Playing the game the right way. Oh, that's right. No retractable roofs. I'm talking frozen tundras and ice balls. No Van Brooklyn. That's why they call it football weather. Bud Grant and the Purple People Eaters, ladies and gentlemen. That's how they played the game back in my day. It's Len Dawson enjoying a smoke and a brew during a game. Hank Stram wearing a sports coat. Legalize the clothesline and bring back drop kicks while you're at it. I'm Greg Cody, and that's how it was back in my day. Ba-da-ba-diddly-up. Bop. Ba-da-ba-diddly-up. Bop. Bop. That kind of thing.
Thanks for the lift, bro.
No problem.
Yo, what is this? Is the musical? Turn it down, man. Like, I'm so tired of it. Musicals are corny. The shit is corny. Like, me tiene hasta aquí with this musical stuff, man. Just turn it down. I want to just chill, man, for real.
I feel you, bruh. I used to be that same way. Then my dog Andrew Lloyd Webber touched my soul with Phantom. And I quickly realized that, man, musicals, they're the highest form of theatrical art that there is, my brother. Think about it. It combines song, movement, dialogue, and production in a comprehensive fashion that really can't be rivaled. I'm talking about really, like, intricate shit, man. In many ways, musical led the cultural change in the 1930s, which was considered to be the golden age of musicals. Had those supremely talented artists not pushed boundaries and helped shape the new American pathos back then, I don't know if I'd be here right now today, standing in front of you. No cap, like no capadonna. Musicals had the capability to make you feel ways that you never thought possible. Even if you might find the subject matter mundane going into it, by the end of the experience, you might find yourself spiritually enlightened through the magic of song and an occasional exposition to advance the story. Matter of fact, I'm feeling ways about football right now I could never dream prior to. I think I'm about to have a moment, my brother. Way down in the jungle deep, a lion bit a Viking on his motherfucking knee. It began in 1869, I see you, Mojo, with a match between the Princeton Tigers and the Scarlet Knights of Rutgers. Oh! Then in 1880, along came a man named Walter Camp, the father of American football, the Waltster, Campy, Wamp, as they called him. He established the snap, the line of scrimmage, 11-player teams, and the concept of downs. The gladiator spectacle. Though the game has evolved over time, at the heart of it, the game of football is just a primal means to tell the age-old story of the triumph of the human spirit. Can you and your teammates overcome the brutal battle?
Greg Cody of the Miami Herald is usually in with us on Tuesdays. He will be in with us tomorrow. We have located his nemesis, Charles Bricker, and we're going to try to put them together. Can you guys give me any information about when this might happen? Charles Bricker has proven evasive. We've given some people the information to track him down, and we weren't sure last week who killed Charles Bricker, but evidently nobody killed Charles Bricker.
We thought we found the real Charles Bricker, and after a week, it became clear that we were mistaken. We had a hot tip that he was somewhere in Tampa, and the number that we got just didn't work out. We went through an intermediary, and we have a message into what this person alleges is the real Charles Bricker, and we've given them a number. Not super tech savvy, can't text them. This person is calling via landline.
It's shocker that Greg Cody's arch nemesis would also be someone terrible at technology.
Well, we're going to put them together for awkward fireworks. Greg was worried last week that we were going to locate him and use it as content. What has he told you, Chris, about we're going to try and put them together, and Greg has now publicly said the whole conversation started with Greg saying he would kill Charles Bricker if there were no consequences.
I texted my dad a very generic, hey, we need you around 11:30. Can you join us? And he was usually he's like, sure, no problem. He was like, what's it for? What's it about? I'm like, I'm not really even sure. Mike just told me to, and he's just like, he was like, kind of like, his radar's up.
Radar's up.
Yeah.
What's the best result for us? They fight, right?
Yes.
Of course. 100%.
Yes.
You don't think it's been 20 years since they've spoken. You don't think bygones can be bygones at this point?
You know when Greg gets upset, he uses this voice here. He gets a little louder.
Yeah.
That's what I want. I want to see
Actually,
Greg.
I should walk it back because it seemed as though the wounds were still very raw, at least for Greg. I am interested to see if Charles is just generally confused at what this all means.
Who?
Yeah.
I don't know a Greg Cody.
Chris, can we call your father? Because I don't think we should disarm him or surprise him. I think we should tell him
Gotcha moments.
That we've located Charles Bricker and that he was nervous about it last week. He kept asking questions off air of me, which he doesn't usually do.
If you tell him though, then that gives him an opportunity to abort, right? Like we need the element of surprise to make sure that he stays with it. Yes?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah.
Because if he has 30 minutes he'll
To think
probably
about it, yeah.
He'll rationalize I should probably I had my regrets from last week. Let me not be emotional. Let me take
But but now his antenna is up. When we didn't tell him what it's about, his antenna is now up to a hard network out or hijinks or something.
I asked you guys what's the best result. You said they fight. I think the best way to ensure that they fight is to spring it on Greg.
Okay, that's fine. I will. Okay, good idea. That is what we will do later today. I wanted to get into a couple of things. One of them serious, what happened in New York with Salman Rushdie. But before we do that, I want to make sure that it gets out into the public. I don't know if Billy's making the accusation formally or not, but evidently there are ideas stolen around here all the time. Chris Cody was afraid to reveal his idea and business plan because he's afraid it's going to be stolen. Billy, are you alleging that a sports team has stolen your or our idea? I don't know what the idea is, but is it your sports team that stole it?
There was a coincidental thing that happened yesterday with the Marlins, and I don't know if you're aware of this. Are you familiar with Sandy Alcantara? You are. Amin?
I am.
Okay, so the Marlins have been doing this thing every time he has a start called Sandy's Beach, where it's like a special ticket promotion, and then part of it, it's like a section that's geared towards Sandy, and there's like a T-shirt that's given away to all the people that sit in said section. And it's not the same shirt. It's not like Cody's Heroes or any of those that they did with Cody Ross back in the day. Like every game, it's a different shirt. So it incentivizes people like, oh, let me go get this if I want to get this shirt of Sandy, right? So yesterday's shirt, a red shirt, had Sandy pitching. And on the top of the shirt, above Sandy pitching, it just said El Caballo.
No.
Love that, man. Love that. What does he mean by that?
Have they stolen that from us? Did they steal?
I mean,
Billy, I know who to blame.
I'm kind of wondering if it's the same situation.
Me and you, I think, are on the same page. There's somebody in here that lives in both worlds.
There's a rat.
There's a rat in the house.
Is that Jeremy?
I will not sit.
I didn't say that.
I
You said it. I didn't say it.
I
I don't know. Talk to anybody. I have no idea what's going on.
will not sit for this. I will not sit for this.
We didn't say that.
You're sitting. You're literally sitting.
Yeah.
Well, I felt like it would have been weird if I said I won't stand for this and I was sitting.
I'm standing for it.
Well, if you're sitting and you're saying I won't stand for it, it would actually make sense.
Yeah, I won't stand for this.
I won't.
Go to the couch. Go to the couch.
Back to therapy.
I'll get back to you.
Look at how Roy delighting in sending you to therapy. All right, get out there. Roy delighting in sending you to
You're got enough off mine. Let's get Roy in therapy if he thinks it's so easy.
Are you guys
Why
not
would I
sitting
go?
for
I didn't
this?
do anything.
I don't know. Am I supposed to stand for this?
Are you
No,
standing
you won't
for it?
stand for it. Sit down.
Sit down.
Unless you
won't
will
Oh,
stand
okay.
for this. And are you
Yeah.
guys
I think
standing
it's
for
unfair.
someone?
Wait, my bad. I won't
Dude.
stand for this. Yeah, now I nailed it.
It's like his Twitter account.
What won't
3
you
weeks late.
What won't you be standing for? That the slandering of your beloved Jer Bear?
Correct.
Okay,
He
so
would never do anything to hurt anyone.
all right. So how did it become El Caballo?
Bears hurt people.
Wait a second. I mean, we have a fairly massive platform here, and if the Marlins marketing department wants to use something that's been said on our show before, we should find it flattering. I'm standing for it.
You are standing for it. Okay.
But
He's right. I'll sit for it. Did I get that
No,
one right? No, that one I got
no,
right because
no,
I
you-
wouldn't sit for it, and now I'm sitting for it.
No, you did
What it
not
really
get it
comes
right.
down
Damn it,
to,
you know
what you're talking about?
I feel like we started this Caballo thing, right? Or you started this, Dan. If anyone started, you started it, right? The Caballo thing, right?
Thank you, Dan.
It was long before me that Hispanic people referred to an ace pitcher as El Caballo. El
You're
Caballo.
the
So
first.
why are we mad that the Marlins took it if
Well,
we
because
didn't
we
come
didn't
up
get
with
any
it?
shirts is really the thing. So, like, if a box of shirts makes its way over here, we're not going to be upset.
El Caballo is Carlos Lee's nickname.
That's another thing.
What are we doing?
Former Marlin great.
Carlos Lee. Why are you accusing a coworker, Billy, of poisoning you?
Oh, well, because
Wait, is this the same person?
this is unrelated. This is.
But is it this? It's the unrelated, but is it the same
Hildy!
person? Oh, okay.
No, this wasn't Chair Bear.
Okay.
This was Kristen. Yesterday,
Oh.
Kristen became a wappa, just so that we're all on the same page. Because what happened is that food was ordered, and Kristen was in charge of ordering the food, but all the food didn't come, so it didn't come for a couple of us. And then Kristen se puso bien guapa, and she started calling and making all these threats to the restaurant. And then what happened is this morning, no, they were. Well, according to her, they were. I'm not withhold payment. Guaperia is what was going on when you were talking. And maybe one day we'll get to that on the wheel, and you guys don't know what the hell I'm talking about. But there was tremendous guaperia going on yesterday, and then all of a sudden, everybody's food came very passive aggressively, I might add, by the restaurant, sending them one at a time every missed meal. So there was about 17 deliveries that
I'll stand
came.
for that.
Yeah.
That's a super funny joke.
So she came, and it took about 3 hours for everyone's food to finally get here because it was coming one meal at a time after the guaperia. But then some people, not to mention any names, had diarrhea today. And we think that what was happening was her guaperia had them doing something, playing around with the food.
The guaperia give you diarrhea.
Mm-hmm. Amin gets it.
Put it on the poll. Does the Wapadia give you diarrhea at Le Batard Show?
While we're talking about Kristen, I learned a doozy about her at our hangout, our team building thing on Thursday.
Mixer?
Thanks
Is
for
it
the
that
invite.
thing?
It's the thing.
It's the
Oh my
thing.
God, this thing is repulsive.
Dan, if I had to say,
More repulsive than A-Rod admitting that he's eating cereal with orange juice.
That's a Dominican thing.
Oh,
Yeah, it's a very Dominican thing.
Yeah.
Makes it no less
But the way
repulsive.
that he described it was not that I do this culturally. It was I was staying at Derek Jeter's place. There was no milk. The only liquid available was orange juice. So I put orange juice in my cereal.
Does he not get that Jeter does not like him? Like,
It's
does
very
he
evident.
not understand
I was
He
watching
hates
the was it K-Rod
Yeah.
show or whatever, and like Jeter shows up, and A-Rod's talking, and Michael K's like nodding, and Jeter's just like looking
Yeah.
up, and then looks
Does
at him.
not
like-
hide his disdain.
I was just like, this guy
Has
here,
never
man.
hid his disdain. But I will say it's not necessarily one of necessity. Dominicans like their cereal with orange juice. I had a Dominican nanny. Her name was Albaidis. That's how she ate her cereal.
That is a great name for a Dominican nanny, by the way.
So what I learned was Kristen said, I'm going to play a little fill in the blank here, and I want you guys to guess what it could be.
Okay.
I put blank on my pancakes.
Syrup.
Syrup was not the answer, Billy.
Whipped cream.
Honey?
Orange juice.
Nope.
Mayonnaise.
Well, is she Dominican?
Nope. Dan's the closest so far.
Nutella.
Ketchup.
Nope.
Wait, what did Dan say?
Mayonnaise.
Miracle Whip?
It's a condiment. I'll start there.
That's the same thing. Isn't Miracle
Relish.
Whip?
Oh, I heard it.
That is fake.
Honey mustard, Tony just said in the corner.
On a pancake?
Honey mustard. My jaw dropped.
Flapjack?
She's a big honey mustard person, and her way of emphasizing this to me was I put it on my pancakes. And
On
I
a
just
hot cake?
and I left. I just walked out. I got up and I just left.
On a silver dollar.
I will not sit for this. I said I will not sit for this. I'm leaving.
That's disgusting.
I told her, I was like, this will make air. So here it is. You're welcome, Kristen.
You ran out of.
Put it on the poll
3, right?
at LeBatard Show. Is Miracle Whip mayonnaise at LeBatard Show? And have you ever heard of anyone putting honey mustard on pancakes?
On a short stack?
I'd like to go back for a second here and ask you guys
On a block, you push your defender to the ground?
if you guys understand how deep your disdain has to be
on an American crepe
for us to notice that you don't like A-Rod when you silently sit next to him. This is the second time this has happened. Do you know how hard it is to convey through silence that you don't like someone to everyone watching on television?
Flapjack?
We're in reruns now.
On a griddle cake.
There it is.
There it is.
It was really awkward. I watched another. I didn't see the whole thing the other night. There was a clip where they had some picture of them shirtless on a Sports Illustrated thing, and Jeter says before the clip, "You put the picture up, it'll be my last time here," like as a threat to the producer. And then 30 seconds goes by. Michael Kay calls out the producer. "You've scared my producer. They have not put it up yet because you just said that." And then the producer puts it up, and Jeter's like, "Well, this will be my last time here." And it's just like this icy moment of like, is he kidding? I don't think he's kidding about this. He's weird.
Yeah. I've become a big Jeter guy after he left the Marlins. The social media, just is misbehaving. I like it.
The photograph,
On a
the cover shoot, was it the cover shoot of Sports Illustrated? It was shirtless Jeter, A-Rod, Garcia Parra, and Edgar Renteria. Is that
I don't remember. It's such a, because they look good on it. Like, it's such a weird thing for Jeter to get seriously like, you better not put this up or it's my last time here. It's just weird.
On a panqueque?
Did you find that part weird, Billy? That he would, and did you find the threat real? Was his threat serious? That he would never appear? I don't know why he's appearing in the first place.
Well, he
next
has to be
A-Rod.
promoting the captain, right?
But but he can promote whatever he wants to, wherever he wants to. It doesn't have to be, I'm sure, contractually while sitting next to A-Rod. If he doesn't like him, and he's going to make that discomfort very obvious to all of us by staring into space.
Michael Kay made a joke at the end. I think he could feel the vibe of Jeter never coming back. He's like, "What do you think, Jeets? A little DJ K-Rod thing going forward?" And it was just like, yeah, that's not going to happen. Gave him top billing, though, at least.
Love that Michael Kay just sort of, he probably knows both of them. He's
He
friendly
does
with
know
both
both
of
of
them.
them.
And so he can probably just like, he can jab Derek Jeter probably unlike anyone else in the media.
It was that icy, huh?
But we know, like David Sampson has told us that the bid for Marlins ownership was A-Rod v. Jeter. And we know that there is still, I would imagine, a ton of frosty feelings off the back of that. Whose idea was it to put them on television together? There was one. Weren't they on like CNB? Weren't they
Yes,
on like
that's
CNBC
the other time I was
together once?
talking about. In fact, we probably have that sound somewhere of how awkward that was, because it was pretty awkward throughout. And I think this time Jeter accomplished the same thing with silence that at the time he accomplished with words, which is to make it known that he basically can't stand A-Rod. I wanted to talk to you, Amin, as they search for that sound about more serious subject matter. You found the sound already?
Yeah, it's super long, but let's see if we can see the iciness 2 minutes
right.
in.
The important thing here is you moved on here. You guys are both big charity people. You've been raising money for charity here. Who are you representing here this year?
I'm representing the Boys and Girls Club from Miami. That's where I learned how to play baseball when I was 10 years old. It's a wonderful organization.
Yeah. And Alex, what are you doing here?
I'm here
representing the Derek. You got it right? Go ahead, Derek. Tell us what you're doing here.
Turn 2 Foundation. Foundation that started 20 years ago. Yeah. Prevention of drug and alcohol use for kids. So it's happy to be here.
Now, we were going to talk to you about the charity events, but you sort of moved everything around here with what happened last night at the Met Gala. You sort of stole the whole show.
This interview's going all type of places.
Well,
yeah, we had a great time last night. It was an awesome night. It was a celebration of art and fashion.
This is actually the most united they've ever been. I remember.
No, it gets worse.
I remember the interview where it was terrible.
People want to know. That's when I came in. I look at the paper. That's what's there in the paper.
That's great.
Yeah, happy about that. Okay, we're gonna keep moving on. Now, you've been in the news recently, not at the Met Gala, but you're interested in buying the Marlins now. Tell us a little bit about that. Any more news? Anything you can add to that?
There's absolutely nothing to add to that. I think media has ran with a story, but there's nothing to add. We're here today for the BTIG Charity Day.
$1.3 billion, so a lot of money, though. That's to buy a big league baseball team. You're going to be involved in that if we get the deal done?
Like I said, we're here for the charity event today, and we're not here to talk about anything else.
Before I let you go, let me ask you about the game of baseball. There's been people who've been arguing the game should be speeded up a little. I've heard some people want to have a pitch clock. Some people want to shorten the innings. Should baseball be speeded up, or is it fine just the way it is right now?
Last year we had 42 million people watching Game 7 of the World Series, which tells you that there is a market for baseball, and I think we're coming back.
That was huge.
Yeah.
The rest of the games sometimes not as great. Did you enjoy the Met Gala last night?
I'm sorry?
Did you enjoy the Met Gala? 3 hours. It's a legitimate question to ask. The Met Gala last night.
I was not there, no.
You were not there.
No, I was not there.
But did you?
E-channel.
I thought you were going to try to make it there. Did you enjoy the game? The Met Gala?
Enjoy the game?
The Met Gala last night.
I did. And Katy Perry put on a great show.
Oh, look at Billy. Look how happy Billy is. Someone else failing at the job. You were just...
I don't know who I like more. Derek Jeter, who's like, I'm not doing this, or Aaron's like, yeah, let's talk about Katy Perry now. Ah, whatever the topic is, A-Rod's ready to go. And Jeter's like, I'm not doing any of this. I'm here for charity.
There was not a lot of chemistry there. Mike, why are you crawling around in your own skin?
Oh, God, it's so awkward. But I will say, for their relationship, that's the strongest bond ever fortified between the two. They were unified in that this guy was an ass.
They teamed up.
They've
never shown better chemistry.
They haven't been this united since they were shirtless on the cover of Sports Illustrated with Edgar Renteria and Nomar Garciaparra.
How about Derek Jeter fake newsing the eventual Marlins acquisition? The media is just running with something.
In retrospect, the guy was pretty on point. He was talking about like a clock on pitches, right? He's talking about
speeded up in his words.
Well, he's nervous at that point. What I heard was an interviewer who is known. He knows it's gone poorly, and now he can't get his verb tenses right.
I'm saying my favorite part was when he says, "How was the game?" And A-Rod says, "The game? I mean, the Met Gala, the Met Gala." Oh man, all I thought of was Chris.
He's
Chris
like,
Cody.
but you wanted to go, right? Or he petered out with some question.
I think Jeter was like, I didn't go to that. He's like, but how was it anyway?
Yeah, but you wanted to. Or
very Stugotz response, just like get into whatever you can get to next.
I want to play it again and just have a camera close up on Billy's face so you can see how much he enjoys when others are hurting. The discomfort.
I was poisoned yesterday, okay?
Yeah, happy about that.
I was poisoned yesterday. Did you have the diarrhea?
Yeah.
Guaparia, diarrhea, Edgar Renteria.
That's the title.
Yeah, happy about that.